welcome back to another video, and today we're reading Shadow chapter 8 today, chapter 8 to 9 actually. One more video until we are on to chapter 10 of Shadow, and then we'll move on to either Snowball or Buddy. Snowball's number 2 and Buddy is number 5. So I don't know which one yet. Hopefully by the end of chapter 10 I will have figured out which one I'm going to do. Probably Snowball, but I don't know. Chapter 8 to 9 of Shadow. Shadow could be a guide dog for a blind person, Lizzie told Charles. They were in Lizzie's room after school. I told Maria my idea, and she agrees that he'd be perfect for the dog. Think about it. She reminded Charles of the way Shadow took care of the bean. Plus, Lizzie said, we could be his puppy raisers. That means we could keep Shadow for a whole year. Lizzie explained to Charles what Maria had told her about puppy raisers and how they were responsible for helping guide dog puppies grow up healthy. They have to teach the puppies about all kinds of places and people, so they will be prepared to deal with anything when they're working with a blind person. That means puppy raisers take their puppies with them to school, to work, to stores, on elevators, everywhere. Charles had Shadow on his lap. He was stroking the little puppy's head. Shadow looked up at him, wrinkling his little forehead like he was trying hard to understand what Charles and Lizzie were talking about. Shadow kept hearing his name. He knew the boy and girl were talking about him. They sounded really excited. That must mean something good was about to happen. Wow, said Charles. He was quiet for a moment. It sounds like fun, but then, after a year, what happens? Well, then we give him to the training centre and they teach him how to be a guide dog, and then he gets matched up with a blind person. Lizzie talked some more with Maria about how the whole system worked. So, after a whole year, we'd have to give him up, Charles asked. He hugged Shadow, burying his face in the puppy's neck. I don't know about that. It would be hard, Lizzie admitted. When she thought about it, she didn't know how she could do it. If she loved Shadow this much after only a few days, how could she stand letting him go after a year? Sometimes the puppies don't work out as guide dogs. If their health isn't perfect or if their personality isn't right, then the puppy raisers are allowed to adopt them permanently. But Shadow would work out, Charles said. Probably, said Lizzie. Then she told Charles how the puppy raisers get to go to the graduation when the blind person and the dog finish training and go off to start their new lives together. That would be cool, Lizzie added. Maria says everyone cries. Charles looked thoughtful. On his lap, Shadow stretched and yawned, waking up from his nap. Then the puppy licked Charles on the chin and started to squirm around, trying to get off Charles' lap. Okay, buddy. I'll take him out for a bathroom break, Charles said. Lizzie knew both that a puppy usually needed to go outside right after he woke up. Great, said Lizzie. I'm going to go on the internet and see if I can find more on how Shadow can become a guide dog. She turned on her computer. Lizzie loved doing research, especially if it had anything to do with dogs. It didn't take long for Lizzie to find that there was a guide dog foundation nearby. It was called Helping Eyes, and it trained 10 dogs a year for blind people. Lizzie got more and more excited as she looked after page of pictures. Most of the dogs were Labrador Retrievers, both black and yellow. She read about what type of personality a guide dog should have. There were pictures of the people at the foundation testing puppies to see if they had that personality. They saw pictures of the puppy when they were with their puppy raisers. They wore little blue vests that said Guide Dog in Training. That way you could take the puppy into a store or the post office without getting in trouble. She saw pictures of the same puppies a year or so later. Now they were grown dogs wearing harnesses, being trained to walk in a straight line down a sidewalk and to stop at a curb when crossing a street. And she saw pictures of the dogs at graduation. They looked so proud as they stood behind their new owners. Lizzie got more and more excited as she read. When Charles came back, she showed him everything she'd found. So, what do we do next? Charles asked. Should we talk to Mum and Dad about it? Lizzie shook her head. Let's wait until we know if they'll take him, she said. She clicked on a button that read, Email us. Dear Helping Eyes, she wrote. My name is Lizzie Peterson. I'm 10 years old and I have 2 younger brothers. My family is taking care of a very special black Labrador retriever puppy named Shadow. He's the smartest puppy ever. He's great with people, especially kids. He even kept my littlest brother Adam from falling down the stairs. I think he would be a great guide dog for a blind person, and I think our family would make great puppy raisers. She asked them to write back right away and let her know if they wanted Shadow to be part of the program. Maybe, just maybe, Lizzie had found the perfect place for this puppy. She had a hard time getting to sleep that night. She kept picturing Shadow the puppy in a little blue vest and helping a blind person to do everything and everywhere they wanted to go. In the morning, Lizzie jumped out of bed and turned on her computer before she even got dressed for school. Maybe the Helping Eyes people had written back. Sure enough, there was an email waiting for her. R.E. Shadow, the subject line said. Lizzie took a deep breath, clicked to open it. Dear Lizzie, the email said, Shadow sounds like a wonderful puppy. Unfortunately, we breed almost all of the dogs in our program ourselves. Lizzie knew what that meant. They kept the best, smartest dogs to be parents to the puppies they trained for blind people. She kept reading. Sometimes a breeder would donate a puppy, and if it has papers and is in good health and has the right personality for being a guide dog, we will accept it. But it is very rare. Lizzie, breakfast, Mum called from downstairs. Lizzie read the rest of the email quickly. Thank you for contacting Helping Eyes, it said. Good luck with Shadow. I'm sure you'll find him a terrific home. It was signed, Nancy Donovan. Downstairs, Lizzie plopped in her chair and frowned over a cereal bowl. Shadow trotted over and started to attack her slipper, but not even that could make her smile. Charles just gave her a what happened look, and she just shook her head. He got the message. The answer was no. What's the matter, honey? Mum asked. Nothing, Lizzie said. Just that I thought I'd maybe found Shadow a home, but I guess it's not going to work out. Mum nodded. She could tell Lizzie didn't want to talk about it anymore right then. Mum was good about that. Well, it's good to hear that you're trying, because this puppy needs a home. Soon. Our trip is next week. Charles looked down at the bean and Shadow, who were rolling around on the floor wrestling. He does look pretty happy here, said Charles. He does, admitted Mum, but... We know, Lizzie said. Charles joined in. His family is not ready for a full-time dog. On the way to school, Lizzie told Charles what the Helping Eyes people had said, but if only they could meet Shadow. They would take him in a minute. He does have papers and he's healthy. I know, Lizzie said, and I think he has the right personality too. But they're not even interested in meeting him. Maybe we could get them interested, said Charles. That got Lizzie thinking. At lunch that day, she told Maria about what Helping Eyes had said. Maria agreed with Charles. I have a digital camera, she said. I got it for my birthday and I already know how to use it. We can take some pictures of Shadow and send them to Helping Eyes. Maybe if they see him, they'll start to understand what a great dog he is. That's an excellent idea, said Lizzie. We can explain that he has papers too. And I was also thinking that we could give him some of the puppy personality tests that the Helping Eyes use. I read about them last night. Then they'll see that he has the perfect personality to be a guide dog. Maria came home from school with Lizzie and Charles. Shadow and the Bean met them at the front door. The Bean had peanut butter all over his face, and Shadow was sipping him helpfully. Oh, what a serious little face, Maria said when she saw Shadow. He's adorable. She smiled at the Bean. And you're pretty cute too. Even with peanut butter all over you, she said. The Bean smiled back and woofed at Maria. She laughed. Then she scooped Shadow into her arms. How about a puppy hug, she asked. You know, I never got to spend time with Simba when he was this little, because he was with his puppy raisers. Shadow liked his new girl. Even though she did not have peanut butter on her face, he wanted to lick her chin. They took Shadow outside and played with him for a while. Sammy came over with Rufus and Goldie, and all three dogs tore around the backyard. Well, that's one of the first tests. Meg took a little note in the black notebook she was carrying. Shadow, get along with other dogs. Maria snapped a few pictures of the dogs playing. What other tests are there? Charles asked. I'll explain as we go along. Lizzie told him. Sammy, why don't you take Rufus and Goldie home so they won't distract Shadow? And Charles, can you also go and find an umbrella and a tennis ball? I will also find an empty soda can and put some coins inside it and tape it shut. She knew she sounded bossy, but they just didn't have that much time. Charles sounded curious. What's that all for? He asked. It sounded like a scavenger hunt. You'll see, Lizzie said. The boys took off and Maria and Lizzie played some more with Shadow. When Charles and Sammy came back, Lizzie said it was time to start testing. The first test is to see how easy Shadow gets scared by new things, she said. They took the umbrella that Charles had found. It was her old pink Barbie one from 2nd grade, and called to Shadow. When he trotted over, she snapped the umbrella open right in his face. What was that thing? Shadow thought it was scary, but only at first. He had never seen anything like it. Shadow knew he had to figure it out. He would give it a good sniff. Shadow stopped short. He frowned as he tilted his head this way and that, looking at the umbrella. Lizzie put the umbrella on the ground upside down. Come on, Shadow, she said. She patted the umbrella. The little pup looked at her. Then she patted the umbrella, and he walked closer and sniffed it. Then he walked right into it. Then Maria snapped a picture of a very serious-looking Shadow sitting inside the pink umbrella. Great picture. What a good dog, Lizzie said, picking Shadow up and giving him a squeeze. What a brave puppy, she turned to the others. Some dogs will run away or bark at the umbrella, but others just want to find more about it. Curiosity is a good thing for a guide dog to have. Simba's very curious, Maria nodded. He's always sniffing around to make sure things are safe for Mum. Simba would be a great role model for any puppy, she told her friends. Lizzie felt so happy. Not only did she have a great new friend, but that dog knew all kinds of things about dogs. Lizzie could tell that she and Maria were going to have some wonderful times together. Next, she had Charles throw the can of coins on the ground behind Shadow. He jumped a little at the sudden rattle, but then he trotted over to sniff at the can and try to figure out why it was so noisy. Another really good sign, Lizzie said. After that, Lizzie said it was time to see if Shadow wanted to work with people. Sammy threw the tennis ball across the yard, and Shadow ran after it so fast that he tumbled over his own feet. Then he picked it up in his mouth, even though it was almost as big as his head, and trotted back to Lizzie. Shadow had never had so much fun in his life. These people really knew how to play. Lizzie wrote everything down in her notebook. He really does have the perfect personality for a guide dog, she said. The tests prove it. It took her over an hour to type up all the results of their tests. Maria helped her upload the pictures they had taken and choose the best ones. Then together they wrote another long email to the people at Helping Eyes. When they said goodbye, both girls held up their hands, fingers crossed. If they were very lucky, everything would work out for Shadow, and the Petersons would get to keep him for a whole year. That's chapter 8 to 9, everybody. Chapter 8 and 9 is done. One more video and we've finished Shadow, we've finished Goldie, and we'll be moving on to Snowball or Buddy. In the next video I will let you know which book I decided, number 2, Snowball, or number 5, Buddy. See you soon, everybody. Bye.